Hey everybody, it's John again from Gasper's Automotive Restoration, and today we're going to be assembling this 360 Edsel engine and getting it ready to go back in the car. And we're going to go over the complete engine build. This has all been redone at the machine shop. We've got a ton of parts at the table and a ton of things to talk about, so stay tuned. Okay, so this engine block here is out of a 58 Edsel. That's a car we've had here in the shop for, 6 months now. 7 months we've had it, and it's been sitting in storage basically the whole time. We were waiting on the machine shop to get this back to us. And we found out a couple interesting things about the engine. The first thing is the engine is in really, really good condition. There's no cracks. It was very rebuildable. It needed to be rebuilt, but there's no, there was nothing major. There's no ears broken off or cracks from, someone putting water in it, that type of thing. So this thing's in really good shape, and it didn't require a ton of, heavy-duty machining to get it back to being rebuilt. The cylinder heads were in great shape, crank. They did have to reshape the connecting rods slightly. The machine shop was telling me that they were a little bit out of round. Sometimes on these small connecting rods, these things can kind of stretch and move around, I guess. So he straightened this all out and made these round again. So this is all ready to go back together. But all new hardware here, ARP fittings. We use ARP for a lot of stuff here, and they work really, really good. American-made hardware. It's great stuff. Maybe it's not exactly like the OEM, but it's going to be even better than the OEM fittings. So all new ARP stuff on here. Everything's been gone through. The bushings here on the end of the connecting rods were changed out. The freeze plugs were done here on the engine. I'll turn the engine stand here. You see these nice brass freeze plugs here. I always try to get brass freeze plugs if I can for an engine. A lot less likely, it's not going to rot away. It's not going to rust away. It's brass, so it's going to last way longer than the steel ones. The steel is, a little bit cheaper, a couple bucks, but it's worth using the brass freeze plugs. These are actually called Welch plugs technically, but freeze plugs is what most people call them, because when the engines would freeze back in the day, somebody left water in it without cooling. These things would oftentimes pop out, and they would think that they're freeze plugs, but they're really just for the manufacturing of the engine to get the sand out of the casting. That's why these holes are here, and then they machine them out and they put these plugs in to plug them up. So that's why those are there. So all that's been gone through, and we're going to start assembling this thing and going through it one step at a time. First thing is we got to go through the parts. So let's unbox these parts and check out all the goodies. So we got all the connecting rods. I'm just going to get these connecting rods in order here, so I know 1 through 8. So there's 5, 3, 6, 7, 4, 2, 6, 7. This must be 8. Just double check. And I make them all face the same way so I know which way they're going. And we got that all set. 1 through 8. And we've got our crank over here. This guy is really, really nice. This has been reground to size to match everything with all the bearings, so we could just put this guy together. Let's see what else we got over here. This is the oil pump, I believe. Got a Melling oil pump. This is US made. It's really, really nice. If you're building an engine and you're spending this kind of money and time if you can get a rebuilt oil pump, you should put one in. It's kind of silly not to. This is I think this is a remanufactured oil pump, but it's just really nice. You don't have to worry about, you know, there it just says USA right on it. You don't have to worry about, you know, your pump failing or something like that. You have a nice rebuilt engine and your pump fails after you put the old one back in. It's kind of silly, so we got a brand new one here to go in. Comes with the gaskets. That's going to be something we put in soon. We've got our pistons over here. Let me just see, what are these here? This is the lifters. Here we go. Let's take a look at lifters. Got a whole box of lifters here. Brand new hydraulic lifters. Really nice. You know, again, if you're rebuilding an engine, it's kind of silly to put the old ones back in. I mean, you could, but these are just so nice. And they're not, these are not expensive to do lifters. They're not expensive. I don't really know exactly what these were, but I've done a bunch of, you know, Ford Chevy engines over the last couple years here, and these things were not the high dollar item on the list, that's for sure. So definitely want to replace those. And you also have to remember too, when you do your lifters, you know, you want to make sure that they go with the cam, because everything's got a wear pattern to it. So these are new. Can you slam these in on an old cam? Yeah. It's probably going to work fine, but you know, we're doing a new cam, new lifters. You don't want to run old lifters on a new cam. I mean, you know, just get the lifters. They're not that expensive. So we've got those. 4 boxes of those. And what else we got here? Oh, here we go. Here's the, looks like the main bearings. You got your thrust bearings here, and then your, these main bearings, these, no, connecting rod. Yeah, these are connecting rod. No, wait. Hang on a second. Rings, pistons. Let's see. Got the Leatherman out here. Got to have a Leatherman. You know, I didn't have a Leatherman for years, and I was watching YouTube, Derek Bierria there on Vice Grip Garage, and he has one of these things all the time. And I bought the Leatherman brand, and man, I will use this thing every day. They're expensive, but they last forever. It's made out of stainless steel. This thing is unbelievable. It just works really, really well. Let's see what we got here. They got timing chain. Got timing gear. Let's see, these are the rod. Here's the rod bearings here. Okay, so these are main bearings here. I thought these are the main bearings here, and then these are the rods here. I'm working on these antique fire trucks all the time, and I'm used to these giant bearings, so when I see this, I thought these were rod bearings, but they're not. They're main bearings. So we got our rod bearings here. You can see how small they are compared to the, you know, they're about 2/3 the size. So got our little rod bearings here to go on. Boxes full of these. We're not going to need these for a little while. 2 boxes of those. What else we got here? Here's our gear for the crank gear, brand new timing gear here, and we've got the. Let's open up this box here. Oh, see, need that Leatherman again. Got a nice US made gear here. It's cast aluminum. Hey, this is their front. You got the alignment pin here for the camshaft. So this is really nice. And we'll put this on with all that set. So we're gonna need this. That's our gear. Here's our chain. Nice timing chain. And I think that's it for right now. Now we've gone through all the parts. Oh wait, we got one more thing here. We do have gaskets. I'm not gonna bother showing you gaskets. They're gaskets. Everybody knows what a gasket is. Here's a brand new cam. This is the other thing I want to talk about in this engine that's different. So, if you look at this camshaft here, this is a normal looking camshaft for an FE motor. However, this flange at the end here is for the early FE motors. So 1958 through 1962 or 1963, I think. It's either one of those years. This is got this flange on it. And then 1964 and later, the FE motors, this is no longer there. Okay, so I ended up damaging the packaging there when I was taking it out. I wasn't thinking. And I went online though and looked up the procedure on these. Apparently the rear main seal on this engine is, the rubber material is designed to swell up with oil. So you're supposed to soak these for a few minutes in oil before you put them in. And then you're supposed to be, installing the crank, fairly soon. You don't want to be sitting there for hours waiting to put the crank in. So we're going to do a couple things before we do that. We want to install the bearings first, get them assembly lubed, and then at the end we'll put this thing together. Also, I've got the two seals for the bearing cap here, which go here and here. We're going to also put those in there. So let's see what happens. Got a small container. Little motor oil. Got the VR1 motor oil here. We use VR1 in these early engines sometimes, especially the smaller engines with hydraulic lifters and stuff and flat tappet cams. It works really good. The bigger stuff we oftentimes just use diesel oil, but got a little bit of oil here to soak these guys in when we're ready. Okay, we've got our main bearings here. The thrust bearing is going to go in the middle usually. We have another bearing that's stuck on here from the packaging. How the heck did that happen? Okay. Somehow a bearing got jammed in here in the packaging. Oh, there it goes. Okay, that's better. Roll that in and make sure that's flat. I like to put them in the groove first and then roll them in. Make sure they're in all the way. Make sure these holes are open for your oil. They don't have to be perfect. They're not going to line up perfect as long as there's enough room for the oil to get through. That's all that matters. There we go. And we're going to do some, let me put these seals in here. Let these swell up here with a little bit of motor oil. Put some assembly lube on here. It also says on this rear main seal, you're supposed to leave the seal turned up about 3/8 of an inch on one side, which makes sense because you don't want to have the seal right at this gap. It could leak through. So you want to have the seal rotated 3/8 of an inch sticking up and down on this side. You also want to make sure that there's a little flap on this seal. The flap tapers inward. There's a little gap in it on the inside, so the smaller diameter is going to go towards the inside. As it tapers down, it goes to the outside. There we go. That's sticking up good enough there. In our cap, we're going to make sure we have the cap all set to go. The cap goes this way, so we're going to make sure we have the seal rotated down on this side. And we're going to make sure we've got that seal going the same way. That's all set. Now we're going to install our bearings on our caps. It's pretty easy procedure. This is cap number 3 here. I put the incorrect bearing on there. So this is actually the thrust bearing one I forgot about. So we'll put the thrust bearing one on here. It's machined a little differently. It's the only one it'll fit on. Okay, that's 3. And then this is the last guy right here. This is cap number 1. Okay, that's ready. We've got our seal in. We got our seal on the inside of this cap. Now I think these seals go in afterwards with this little piece of wire. I think you slide them in like that. Let me try it, see what happens. They actually give you a little gauge here too to tell if you've got this in the correct spot. It says it wants it a little further, okay? There we go. And we'll do a little further here. Okay, that's set, this is set, and we're ready to go. So the crank is going to go in. This is our flywheel end. Bring this guy in. We're going to put this in as evenly as we can. Just like that. Spins nice. Fantastic, okay? Now we're going to I like to put the loop on here for the main bearings instead of putting them in the caps because it makes a mess with the cap. You're trying to move it around and stuff's dripping. It's just easier to put it on here. So we're going to put this on the actual crank journals. Plenty of lube on there. And we'll start with this guy in the end here. See me do this, okay? Don't panic. I'm not impacting these down on them. All I'm doing is just bringing these down. It's a lot quicker than I put my setting here on low. Now we got these down all the way. I'm going to install these little seals here next. And get these in here. They have a taper to them. And that goes in there like that. It has a little slightly snug fit. There we go. Got to check on this. There's these 2 nails that they give you here. Again, I've never done a Ford FE motor like this, so they give you these nails. I'm assuming that they're to go behind the seal and push the seal out, but I'm just going to make sure before I put those in there. I don't want to make sure it's some sort of installation tool that you don't need. We'll go check. Okay, so I just reviewed, and again, you know, hey, we're not all experts on every engine, right? And like I said, I'm total honesty, I've never done one of these before. So I wanted to check before I just assume, right? Assuming makes out of you and me, so we don't want to do that. So you get these things down flush. And then there's the nail. It literally is a nail, goes in here, and you want to start at a little bit of an angle. You want to make sure you don't start it. That goes down. Okay, there we go. And we are going to torque these main caps. So we're going to get out the book here. I went to the library and got the book. I have these old motor repair manuals. These are just really, really invaluable for this type of thing. And you know, there's tons of manufacturers in there. They all have different specs, different, you know, torque patterns for the cylinder heads, different torques for different parts of the engines. You know, it's really valuable to have something like this. So again, motor auto repair. They also have motor truck manuals, which are just obviously just trucks. That covers you know, Hercules, Waukesha, Continental, Mack, you know, Ford, Chevy, Dodge trucks, all that, anything truck. I think you can use this for the half-ton pickups, I believe, you know, for some stuff like the engines, like on a Ford flathead, it's the same thing, you know, for pretty much. But that you could use the specs out of here, but you want to get a truck manual if you have a truck. So, and this is 651. And here's all the specifications. I mean, look, anything you wanted to know about this thing. So this is, let's see if I got the right book here. This is 1950. Oh, is this too old? Yes, this book is the wrong one. This is too old. I grabbed the wrong one. I need this is 17th edition. I need I think it's 18th or 19th. Okay, here's the correct book. This is 53 to 61. We're working 58, so I'm just going to go up the front here and see where Edsel. Look at that. It even shows Edsel by itself. So 696. Whoa, that page is stuck together there. Old book. Ford Thunderbird Edsel. Let's see. 58. Gives us all the dimensions. Yeah, see, it's special option V8 was a 4-inch. Looks like standard V8 is a 3 3/4 bore. So, okay, interesting. Shows 4-inch bore. Let's see. Tune up. General specs. Engine tightening specifications, I think that's what we're looking for. Main bearing caps, 58. This is saying, oh, that's Thunderbird Edsel. Edsel, that's right. I was going to say, I'm looking at these numbers. I'm like, that's Y block, 292, 332. So we've got the Edsel. This is going to be the 360, which is the same thing. So it's all 95 to 105. So we're going to go 100. So you're going to go to 100 here. There's 100. Okay, so I rolled the engine back over, and I just realized I forgot to do something. I just want to put some of this assembly lube on the cam bearing journals, and the only way I can think of to get in there is to do it this way. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of, if I can get my hands in here. There we go. Put a little bit of something on there if I can. And then of course we're going to coat the cam with assembly lube. Okay, go ahead and clean up the part here. There's a bunch of stuff that's got to go on here. We've got our little slinger ring thing here, which goes on after the, I think it goes on here like this after you put the chain on the timing gear. And then we've got our, this is the fuel pump eccentric here for your fuel pump. So this has got to go on. You don't want to forget this. This goes on the cam. All right, so we're going to put our timing chain on here. And we've got our pin here. We got our crank at top dead center, and there's a mark on here. There's supposed to be a mark on this gear, and it is on this side over here. So get this guy up. This should be top dead center, and that makes sense right there. The mark is at top dead center, and whoop. Okay. And we got our chain here. So that's going to go like that. And we got our gear here. It says front. And this is supposed to be pointing down towards the other one. So we're going to have to rotate this cam around. Get that there. Need our pin. Okay, move the crank a little bit. The two dots line up right there. This pin goes in here. That is correct. Now we have our pump cam. This is going to drive our fuel pump, and that's 5/8. We're going to tighten that up. Okay, I don't know what torque that's supposed to be. Let's see. Let's say you want to torque a bolt in an engine and or on something. It doesn't matter if it's an engine or not. And you need to figure out what that torque needs to be. You don't have a book. Doesn't say in this book. It doesn't say what to torque that little bolt to. But since it's in here, I want to make sure it's tight correctly. So I did tighten it with the impactor. That's pretty darn good. But let's see what it says here. This is 7/16 14 bolt, and it says it's a grade 5, judging by the marks on it, and which is a normal bolt, and that's saying 42 foot-pounds on that bolt. So I'm going to get the socket and do that. Now we got to put this little shield on here. Can't forget that. So when the timing cover goes on, we're gonna be good here. We've got this ready to go. This is tight. Everything's aligned. You got your marks right here and here. Let me bring you in and show you that. You can just see these marks here. I moved the engine a little bit, but they were lined up here. You got that dot and that dot lined up. So we know we're good here. And we've got this guy all tightened up. And you can see inside here we got number 1, top dead center. It's lined up with the piston. And then, you know, 2, 3, and 4 here. And 5, 6, and 7, and 8 over there. So next is going to be probably the pistons and connecting rods, I think, because I could put the cam followers in here, or the lifters as they're called, and I could do that, but if I were to tilt the engine too much, they could fall out. So that's easy enough to do later. There's no reason to put them in right now. I'm going to leave them out. I'm going to do these pistons here first, and then we'll go from there.